afternoon, everybody. I'd like to talk about some linguistic aspects of scientific writing. I'll talk about three topics, my three favorite topics. I'll do it fast because it's long. Style. First of all, what is correct style? Correct style is taught at several universities, especially in America. I don't know about Britain because I can only see websites of American universities teaching style. Good style is the same regardless of the profession or even the language. Why is correct style important? Because if style is correct, the text is more readable, more understandable, more effective. One very important thing is simplicity and clarity. You should write simply. Many writers feel that a scientific text is more serious if it is more complicated. No, that's not true. Complicated text is difficult to understand. I'll say something else about this. For example, let's suppose we are engineers. We have to design a machine. What kind of a machine should you design? As light as possible, as efficient as possible, and with the least possible fuel consumption, of course. You can't, if you're an engineer, you can't design unnecessary elements just because they look beautiful, okay? It's absurd, yes? Scientific writing is the same. I'm in a good position because you're engineers, you understand it. You understand how an engineer works. If I say writing works the same way, you can easily understand it. I would be more trouble if I had to explain it to a philosopher or, or someone else, but you can understand it. Believe me, efficiency should be a priority for an engineer everywhere, okay? Not just in your work, but also in your writing. And I fully agree with it, but what does Elsevier say? Eliminate noise words. Remove words and phrases that do not convey information that relates to your point. For example, it should be noted that the insertion can be said more simply by the insertion. We'll talk about that later. So Elsevier, well, this is a reference. I will send you, okay, you will get a more complete description of all of this, okay, with all the references. Springer, my favorite. When writing your manuscript, be as brief means short, okay? Be as short as possible without omitting essential details. Of course, details are important, but being brief is important too. A common mistake that authors make is trying to include too much information in their sentences. Sentences are too long. Sentences shouldn't be too long, okay? When sentences are long, most readers will have to read the sentence at least twice to understand the ideas. Well, that's not very efficient. You shouldn't waste the reader's time. Okay, that's stealing. Okay? And that's illegal. As your readers like you are busy and want to find information quickly, they say that you shouldn't write sentences more than 20-25 words. Well, of course, you can write longer sentences, but not every sentence should be very long. Keep it simple. Simple language is clearer, more precise. Many authors incorrectly assume that they should use complicated language as they are often describing something that is sophisticated. Okay, if you make a very complicated machine, that doesn't mean that your language should be complicated when you describe it. That's two completely different things. Nature and science. okay, they are not engineering papers, but you've probably heard about them. Yeah. Write simply. Okay, they say write simply. Okay. Purdue University. The goal of concise writing is to use the most effective words. Concise writing doesn't always have the fewest words, but it always uses the strongest ones. Writers often fill sentences with weak or unnecessary words. Okay, we'll see examples of unnecessary words. That can be deleted. Words and phrases should be deliberately chosen for the work they're doing. Like bad employees, okay, bad workers, words that don't accomplish enough should be fired. Okay, words should be fired if they don't do what's necessary. William Strunk was a professor of English about 100 years ago. Vigorous writing is concise. And that's what he said. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words, a paragraph, no unnecessary sentences, for the same reason that a drawing, like a technical drawing, should have no unnecessary lines. Okay, you agree? And the machine, no unnecessary parts. Okay? He's not even an engineer. He was a professor of English. This requires not that the writer make all his sentences short. Okay, you can use longer sentences, but that every word tells, every word gives important information. That's my other favorite, Duke University. Scientific writers sometimes needlessly inflate their writing in length and complexity in an effort to sound scientific. They want to sound scientific or convey intelligence. Okay, oh, I'm very intelligent, I can use long sentences. In truth, it takes a deeper understanding to explain a complex topic simply. The better you know the topic, the simpler you can explain it. Okay? The best scientists can communicate complicated results to intelligent readers outside their field. Long, complex writing does not imply good science. Okay? These are very, very strong words. Okay, you might ask, who the hell is Duke University? Well, Duke University is the 9th best university in the world. You know, there is a ranking. Duke University is the 9th. So it's a pretty nice university, believe me. Okay? And don't, well, I made it red on purpose, okay, to show you that it's important. Get rid of unnecessary words, phrases, and sentences. Don't use unnecessary words. Like, you don't need that. It's worth noting that something and something happens. No, something and something happens. It is important to realize. What does this mean? This means that the writer thinks that the reader is too stupid to realize that it is important. Okay, the writer writes something important, but thinks that the reader is too stupid to realize that it is important, so the writer writes unnecessary things like this. This is an insult. I don't insult my readers. Okay, that's stupid. Do not write sentences like this. All right, that's a very, very interesting thing. It doesn't carry any information. Only write things that convey information. You write because you want to convey information. You don't write because you have an urge to write. Okay? You write because you want to tell the reader something. This doesn't tell the reader anything. A reader of a scientific paper can locate a drawing and read the caption, okay, draw or a figure, tensile strength, tensile curve. We needn't write it in the text because it doesn't convey information. Of course, a figure should be referenced in the text. Of course, you must write about the figure, but not this, because this doesn't give you information. Instead, this is a good example. The peak temperatures at the end of the thermic curve shifted towards lower temperatures. Figure 1, ha ha ha. We said something and referenced it. Well, I must tell you, I didn't write this sentence myself because I'm not a polymer engineer. I asked Mr. Tamás Tábi to give me a good sentence because he knows about this. But he gave me this sentence and I said, okay, this is a beautiful sentence. So this is the correct use of referencing a figure. Many authors like to use complicated words. Don't. They also often mean something else. Some writers write complicated words because then they think I sound so clever because I write very complicated words. And they say, the meaning is similar, okay? This ameliorates the situation, okay? Instead of this, improve the situation. Elucidate means show. Methodology is similar to method, but not the same. Utilize is not the same as use. Not exactly the same. So, if you replace simple words with complicated words, sometimes they don't mean the same, and sometimes you write something stupid. If you use methodology instead of method, methodology is a system of methods, not one method. Okay? That sounds stupid. Like in this case, if you write this instead of this, or this instead of this, they don't mean exactly the same. So don't do this. Use simple words. In the conclusion section, don't repeat the abstract. Don't write about your own article. We don't want to make it unnecessarily long. Like, in the next chapter, I will show you how to produce this particular hybrid composite. Okay? Why would you write it? It will be in the next chapter. It just makes your article longer. The reader will see it anyway. And now comes the next topic. Why is it number 3? I thought it would be number 2. Never mind. Okay. Long, complicated things should be at the end of a sentence. This is English language. In the English language, long, complicated things come at the end of a sentence. It is a natural tendency. That sounds good English. Okay? This automatically means that the subject, what is the subject? Okay, so Peter went home. Who did it? Peter is the subject. Okay? The subject should not be very long.
Peter should be short.
Yes. Yes. We will see nice examples of these long things come at the end. Okay, let me give you an example. All right. Put the book on the table. Is this good word order? Is it correct? Yes. If I wanted to say, put on the table the book, is this nice? No, it isn't nice. Put the book on the table, this is the natural word order. However, listen to this sentence. Put on the table the book you bought yesterday, even though I told you not to. Oh, on the table, book. Why is my last sentence correct? Because long and complicated things come at the end. This is a very, very strong rule in English. Okay, you can say, okay, I understand it. Why do you stress it so much? Okay, I'll give you some other nice examples. Yes. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, okay, good. All right. A long subject is incorrect style, okay? Okay. Injection molding, which has been used for more than a century due to its low cost per item if used for mass production, is the most widely used plastic processing technology. This is the subject, the red one, okay? What is the most widely used technology? Okay. Injection molding is a good technology. What is the subject? Who does something? Injection molding. Okay. But here, injection molding is longer. This long thing shouldn't come at the beginning. This is, I wouldn't say it's grammatically incorrect, but it's stylistically incorrect. It's bad style. Okay, let's correct it. One possible correction. Injection molding has been used for more than a century. Here is the subject. Short. If it's used for mass production, the cost per item is low. This is the subject in the second part of the sentence. This is not very long. It is the most widely used. Blah, blah, blah. This is very nice and short. Okay? We have to correct it because this is not good style. Things like this, which are bad style, make reading difficult. Melt temperature, holding pressure, holding time, residual cooling time, shock weight, and mold temperature are important technological variables. Okay, this is a list. A long list shouldn't be at the beginning. It should be at the end. All right. This is not very short, but certainly shorter. Important technological variables of injection molding include, and the long list is at the end. That's better. Well, even this is long, but much shorter than that. Long subject. Now, this is a terrible example. Maybe you have written such stupid sentences in scientific articles. Mathematical models that can adequately describe the bonding of amorphous and semi-crystalline thermoplastics, even with fiber reinforcement, will be created. This is very long, okay? This is terrible style, or if you like it better, disastrous style. One solution is to use the active voice. We will create. That's a possible solution. However, the active voice and passive voice also have their rules. You can't just say, instead of the passive, I will use the active. Because sometimes you have to use the passive, okay? So we can't always use the active. So maybe we have to keep the passive. Here's another solution. Mathematical models will be created which can adequately describe. That's much shorter. Or, even better, mathematical models will be created to describe. Much better, much shorter. Very, very long subject. We don't like very long subjects. Another very general stylistic rule of the English language. Put new information at the end of the sentence and old information at the beginning of the sentence. Each sentence should start with old information and finish with new information. Don't worry if you don't understand it. I will give you a nice example which I made myself. Linguists call the end of the sentence the place of natural emphasis, stress position. All right. So here a reference says that if you don't put information in the right place, people will understand it much less. Here's another. The beginning of the sentence, all the information is called topic position by linguists. Blah, blah, blah. All right, here's a nice example from a reference. What does it mean? Bees disperse pollen. Okay, bees disperse pollen. Okay, here's a nice sentence. What is the old information? Bees. So, what are we talking about now? We are talking about bees. That's old information. And what is the new information that we say? That they disperse pollen. Okay? We are talking about bees. What else do we know about bees? That they disperse pollen. That's correct. Or, pollen is dispersed by bees. What are we talking about now? We are talking about pollen. Pollen is old information. We are talking about pollen. And we mentioned that, imagine that pollen that we are talking about right now and have been talking about for some minutes is dispersed by bees. And wait. They are both correct. But here, this is old information, this is new information, and here, this is old information, and this is new information. Yeah, okay. And a very respectable reference, okay, said, in our experience, the misplacement of all the new information, not in the right place, turns out to be the number one problem in American professional writing. Okay? So, that is a guy from an American university. Okay? And he's American, so he reads American publications. Okay? So he can speak about American publications. So that's what he said. That's the number one problem. This is an important problem. Okay? Examples, it's a bad example. Look, I made it myself. I like cars very much. Petrol engines are different from diesel engines. Everybody understands that. Better efficiency and lower fuel consumption make diesel engines very popular. Higher compression ratios make better efficiency and therefore lower fuel consumption possible. Petrol engines have 50 to 100% lower compression ratios than diesel engines. This is incorrect style. Petrol engines are different from diesel engines. Better efficiency. Where the hell does better efficiency come from? Who asked it? Who mentioned it? That's stupid. Do you understand my problem? Okay. So, on the next page, I corrected my own text. Ha! That's why it is green, because it's good. Petrol engines are different from diesel engines. Diesel engines are very popular. Where did diesel engines come from? We were talking about diesel engines, okay? Are very popular because of their better efficiency and lower fuel consumption. Better efficiency and lower fuel consumption, where does it come from? We were talking about it in the previous sentence. Are the result of higher compression ratios. The compression ratio, where does it come from? We were talking about it in the previous sentence. Can you feel the difference? Old information, new information. Number one problem in American professional writing. I don't make such mistakes. Look at my nice text, okay? I made it correct. Yes. Passive voice has a different word order, okay? Bees disperse pollen. Pollen is dispersed by bees, okay? The word order is different. We can use this to put information where it belongs. Like, most plastic products in household are manufactured by injection molding. Yeah, that's okay. American inventor John Wesley Hyatt and his brother invented injection molding. Yeah, okay, they're not very nice. Most plastic products are manufactured by injection molding. Injection molding was invented. Where does it come from? From here. How can we put it here? We have to use the passive because a passive voice is a tool to change the word order. Word order is very strict in English. Okay, most of you speak Hungarian. In Hungarian you can do that. A könyv az asztalon van. Az asztalon a könyv van. A könyv, az asztalon van a könyv. Okay, in Hungarian you can have different word orders. In English you can't. The book is on the table. Not on the table the book is. You can't play with word order. So you need active and passive voice as a tool to change the word order. Alright. The action should be expressed by a verb and the actor should be the subject if possible. Okay. The action should be expressed by a verb. What is a verb? Come, go, run, okay? Doing something. Okay. A common problem. We performed an analysis of the sample. What is the verb? Perform. What is the action? Analyzed. No. Okay? I could give you a nice Hungarian example, but not everybody speaks Hungarian. Okay? Should I give you a nice Hungarian example?
Why not?
Alright. A feladat elvégzésének, az elintézésének a végrehajtása létrejött. Az Isten áldja már meg. Okay? This is what I am talking about. We analyze the sample. Aha! Now that is correct. This is longer and more confusing because the action is a noun. What is a noun? Table, car, these are nouns. Okay, an action, if we did something, it shouldn't be a noun. If we did something, it should be a verb. Okay? You analyze something. No analysis. Analyze. Okay? So this is correct style. However, a noun can refer back to something. We analyze the sample, the analysis showed nothing wrong. Okay, it can refer back, that's okay. But not when we do the action. You think that this is not so important? Yes, you can understand this sentence because it is not very long. But if a sentence is 2 kilometers long, believe me, it makes the sentence much more difficult to understand.
Oh.
The structure of a paragraph. Oh yeah, okay. I don't want to talk much about it. You can read it in what I will send you. The article should have different chapters. Okay, everybody knows these chapters, introduction, methods, and no problem. However, a well-styled text consists of paragraphs. A paragraph is a few sentences together. Paragraph, okay? It's about one idea, okay? And the first sentence summarizes the main idea, and the other sentences detail it, and you use a few paragraphs in your text. Let me give you an example. I want to talk about Budapest public transport. Okay? First paragraph. There are there's an introduction, and the second paragraph, sometimes vehicles are very dirty. Okay, that's the first sentence, it summarizes the main idea, and then I detail it. For example, trains are especially dirty. Last time I traveled from Budapest to Hamburg on a MÁV train. It was so dirty that I couldn't see the people because of the dirt, blah, blah, blah. Okay, then I detail it. Okay, so the first sentence summarizes it. I say a few words about this idea and then go on to the next idea. A common mistake is that the writer doesn't separate the ideas, and they use one long stream of sentences in which they detail 10 different ideas. Okay? And very many people do this in scientific articles. And it's okay, but sometimes they forget that they have talked about this and say the same sentence 20 sentences later. because there is no logic and order in what they write. So you should write paragraphs, and if you have written about that idea, don't repeat it. Don't repeat that idea later. Yeah, okay, you can read it. Next topic, dangling modifiers. What the hell is dangling modifiers? Okay. All right. I'll be quick. I went home laughing, okay? This is an ing form. It's actually an adverb, but you don't have to know what an adverb is. All right. It's no problem when it's short. However, when it's longer, I went home laughing at the clowns in the streets. Okay, now that's longer. Okay. What do I have to say about this sentence? Who went home? I went home. Who was laughing? I didn't write who was laughing, but everybody knows that I belongs to laughing too. So I belongs to went, and I belongs to laughing too. So I went and I was laughing. Do you agree? Okay, no problem, then we can go on. Okay. Or, he went in, locking the door behind him. He went in, okay, he went, but who locked the door? In this case, he refers to lock too. He went in and he locked the door. Okay? This is like this in English grammar, but you understand these sentences, yes? However, this can be a big source of problems in scientific writing. Cleaning the windows, I heard the noise. Who was cleaning the windows? I was cleaning. Walking in the street, I met Tom, I was walking. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. An interesting example. Who crossed the street? Crossing the street, the bus hit him. Who was crossing the street? The bus was crossing the street. Okay, not he. The bus was crossing the street. I want him to cross the street. Crossing the street, he, good, he was crossing the street. So, how did I correct it? With the passive voice. Another good use of the passive voice. Now he crossed the street. Now, these are the problems that you see in scientific articles. Okay, these kind of problems, I will show you some other ones. There are some expressions where we do not expect the subject to refer to this ing form, like, to tell you the truth, he is not a policeman. It's okay, it's not he who tells you the truth, I tell you the truth, okay, no problem. So in this case, or speaking of which, could you lend me $800,000 million? No, not you speak, okay, I speak. So there are some expressions where we don't have to match these things. The ing form can also be a noun, okay? Getting up early on the weekends didn't make him happy. What? That's a noun, okay, like table. What? Table. Getting up didn't make him happy. It's more difficult if the ing form comes after a preposition. After, okay, after is a preposition. After looking out of the window, we noticed. We were looking, okay? We were looking. Yes, we were looking and we noticed, okay? Okay, but you can't say that after looking out of the window, the rain stopped. Because in that case, the rain was looking out of the window. Or while listening to music, lunch was cooked. Lunch was listening to music. Okay? Correctly. While listening to music, we cooked lunch. The third form can also be an adverb. Asked if he thought everything was alright, he said. Okay, he was asked. Okay, he was asked and he said. Convinced that his wife wanted to poison him, he was convinced. Okay. To plus verb, same problem. I went to the restaurant to have lunch. Who had lunch? I. I went, I had lunch. Same with to. Okay? No problem. A common mistake, blah, blah, blah. All right. Duke University says that this is an important problem. Okay? Believe me. Common errors. The mechanical properties of the metal can be further improved using traditional techniques. Have you seen sentences like this? Yes. Who was using the traditional techniques? The properties. The mechanical properties were using the techniques. No, thank you. Yeah. Possible correction. We can improve using. Yeah, that's okay. The specimens were injection molded using an Arbugo or rounder machine. Who was using the machine? The specimens were using the machine. The specimens injection molded themselves in Industry 4. Okay? Industry 4. Yeah. After finishing breakfast, we went to the pub. Good. After analyzing the samples, we measured. We analyzed, we measured. After looking out of the window, we saw. Good. Janet comforted Anne by patting her on the shoulder. Janet patted Anne on the shoulder. Blah, blah, blah. However, you can often see sentences like this. After looking out of the window, it was seen. And writers like it very much. It was seen, it was found. Okay. But in this case, who was looking out of the window? It. And who is it? The terrible clown in Stephen King's It. Okay? The clown was looking out of the window. Thank you. Yeah. Ouch. Some more examples. Shortly after leaving home, the accident occurred. Who was leaving home? The accident was leaving home. Okay? The accident was leaving home. Without knowing his name, it was difficult to introduce him. I guess you wouldn't have thought that there's a problem with this sentence before I told you. It looks all right, but it isn't. Who didn't know his name? The clown didn't know his name. Okay? Without knowing his name, I found it difficult. Oh yeah, I didn't know his name. That's correct. Before adding the compound, it was determined. Now, many scientific writers have a very, very, very stupid idea. Their idea is that if it is science, I must use the passive voice. I'm going to talk about the passive voice today, a little bit later. So that's stupid. The passive voice is very nice, but not for all the time. Okay? It was determined, no. Because the clown added the compound. Okay? No, thank you. Before adding the compound, we determined. Yes, we added the compound. Okay? We don't, yeah. When changing a fuse, the electricity should first be switched off. Yeah, the electricity changes the fuse in Industry 4. Yes. All right. I have some other very nice, all right, third form. Driven by the idea of environmental consciousness, biodegradable polymers have been gaining importance recently. Okay, who was driven? The biodegradable polymers had environmental consciousness. Okay? As a result of environmental consciousness, biodegradable polymers, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's not so easy to... Okay, here are some very beautiful examples, but we don't have very much time. I'll send it to you. Now, how about to plus verb problems? To get up on time, a great effort was needed. Okay, passive again. Who needed... Oh, who wanted to get up on time? The great effort wanted to get up on time. Okay? To improve his results, the experiment was done again. Again, the passive. Okay? Who wanted to improve his results? The experiment. Okay? The experiment was a very conscientious experiment. The experiment saw, not good results. I feel bad for this poor researcher. I will do myself again. Okay? Redundancy. Someone might think, okay, we made a little mistake, we didn't match them. But who cares? It's obvious from the sentence, yes? The context, obvious from the context. You understand this magic word, context? Okay? It's obvious from the context. Why does Attila bother so much about this? Yeah. Now let's talk about redundancy. What does redundancy mean? Redundancy means that you say everything twice. You say everything twice. Why do you say everything twice? Why do you say everything twice? Because maybe the other person doesn't understand it. Maybe the other person doesn't understand it. That's redundancy, okay? Where is redundancy? For example, cars have two separate braking circuits. In an aeroplane, you have everything 3 times. Okay? So if one breaks down, you still have 2. And if a second one breaks down, you can still fly the plane. Okay? Because you don't want to come down. Because that's very bad. It's useful in cars, planes, yes. However, there is redundancy in the language. For example, in English, there's a redundancy in this sentence. There are 3 apples on the table. How many times have I said many? There are 3 apples. I said many 3 times, like in an aeroplane. Okay? If I make a mistake in 2, there is 3 apples on the table, we can still understand that there are many apples. If it's a mistake, it's okay. But to abuse it, you understand abuse? Okay? To abuse it is a sin. Don't abuse redundancy. Here is redundancy. Restaurant, you can understand it from the context. Restaurant, I tomorrow going lunch eating. Do you understand what it means? Yes, you do. Is there a mistake? Yes. Do you still understand it from the context? Yes, because there is redundancy. But don't do it in scientific articles. Okay? Okay? That's my point. Maybe you understand it from the context, but don't do it. Yeah, now comes the passive voice. Well, since the 1920s, before the 1920s, 1920, like 100 years ago, in the last 100 years, many scientists think that if you write a scientific article, you must use the passive. That is very incorrect and very stupid. And it's not only I who say it. Fortunately, in the 21st century, some people have started thinking, okay, maybe that is stupid to always use the passive. Maybe that is very stupid. We have seen a few examples before, yes, with dangling modifiers, okay? So, what can you read on the website of Elsevier? Expunge, that means get rid of. Virtually all use of the passive voice. Use of the passive voice confuses the reader because it doesn't tell the reader who did the action. Well, this is not absolutely correct because the passive voice has its place in English. In many cases, it is correct. So you don't have to get rid of all use. No, this is the other side. All right, but you understand that you shouldn't always use the passive. Springer is better. Use the I love Springer. Okay, use the active voice, not the passive voice, when possible. Now that is clever. Okay, it means use the active voice and the passive voice correctly. Now that is clever. Yeah. All right. Don't. This APA is the style guide of the American Psychological Association. It's psychology. You know, American Psychology Association, Psychological Association. But they have such a nice and long style guide. Okay, how you should write scientific articles that many people just adopt it. Okay, we are not psychologists, we are engineers, but they write it down so nicely how to write a scientific article, really use their guide. Okay, so it's very often used. And they also say, here it is. Experiments have been conducted. This is inaccurate. Okay, that's what the APA style guide says. Rather, you would use blah blah blah, we conducted. That's correct. Okay? I will tell you why this is incorrect. I will tell you. Alright. That's the APA. Nature also prefers the active voice. Science also. University of Toronto says. University of North Carolina. University of California. Okay, so believe me, very many people, very many clever people and universities and publishers say that you shouldn't overuse the passive. But why do sometimes people use the passive? Sometimes people say the passive is objective. Have you heard this argument before? All right. But it's not objective. If I write tensile strength was measured, it's not more objective than if I write I measured tensile strength. It's just as factual and objective. So the objective, this is stupid. All right, this is not... sometimes the passive voice, okay, sometimes the passive voice is not a full passive voice, because a full passive voice consists of am, is, are, was, were, plus a third form. Yes? The table was broken, two parts. Okay? But sometimes we don't have the am, is, are, was, were form, only the third form, but it is still a passive. The table broken yesterday was difficult to repair. And this broken yesterday is a passive. Why? Because it is exactly the same as if I say the table which was broken yesterday. Was broken? Yeah, that's a passive. The table which was broken yesterday was difficult to repair. The table broken yesterday was difficult to repair. They mean exactly the same. So broken is just as passive as was broken. So when I talk about passive, sometimes you can only see a third form when I talk about the passive, okay? Blinded by the light, he couldn't see anything, okay? Since he was blinded by the light, okay, this blinded is passive. Okay, she repaired the vase broken the day before. She repaired the vase that which was broken the day before. However, here's another interesting point. When you use the passive, it is always somebody or something that did it. You can't use the passive for something that happened by itself. If the table broke by itself, okay, because you much food on it and the table broke, then you can't say the table was broken. Because if you say the table was broken, that means the table was broken by somebody, even if it's not in the sentence. So if something happened by itself, you can't use the passive. Okay? So for example, very common mistake. You put some coating. Okay? You put some coating on a specimen. And you put the specimen in a liquid, and the coating appears on the specimen. Okay? The liquid puts a coating on the specimen. So, I can say a coating formed on the specimen. A coating appeared on the specimen. Okay, that's correct. But very many scientists say, in this case, the coating was formed on the specimen. No, the coating was formed on the specimen means somebody put the coating on the specimen. Okay? So be careful. If you say, she repaired the vase that broke the day before the vase, alright, this doesn't mean that, because in this case, yeah. Okay. Alright, what's the meaning of the passive? First meaning, I don't say who, like Donald Trump was elected in 2016. I didn't say who elected him, okay, like the table was broken. I didn't say who did it. It means somebody did it, but I don't want to say who. I don't know, or I want to hide it, doesn't matter. Here it is, a hard layer formed on the surface. Blah, 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 I have talked about it. Yes. So you understand the first meaning of the passive. I don't want to say who did it, but I know that somebody did it. Okay, there is somebody who did it, we just don't say who. What is the second meaning? Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. In the second meaning, you have a by, and you say who did it. Obviously, it's very, very different from the first meaning, because you say who did it. Okay, so it must be very different from the first meaning. Why do we use the second meaning? Now that's very simple. If you say Hamlet was written by Shakespeare, and if you say Shakespeare wrote Hamlet, both sentences contain the same information. Okay? The meaning, the information is the same, only the form is different. What is different? The word order. Okay? So this second meaning of the passive is used to change the word order. Okay? We have seen examples of changing the word order, or we have seen examples where changing the word order was a good idea. Okay? So we use this to change the word order. Okay, second meaning. Alright. Well, in this case, the end of the sentence is stressed. So I put the important, the important thing at the end. So if I wanted to say it in Hungarian, I would say Hamletet Shakespeare írta. Okay? Because I stressed it. How can I stress it in English? Put it at the end.
But if I say Shakespeare írta Hamletet.
In Hungarian you can do anything. In Hungarian you can do anything. You are right. Okay, so in this case I changed it because of stress. Yeah. Lemuel wrote an email. What is important information? We know about Lemuel, but he wrote an email. The action is important. The email was written by Lemuel. We know about the email. What is the important information? The person who wrote it. Okay. Otherwise they mean the same. Okay, the second reason is, crossing the street, a bus hit him. You remember? Crossing the street, he was hit by a bus. Dangling modifiers, okay? That's the second reason. And now, what is emphasized? What is important? There are 4 levels of importance. 1, how important is the doer, the person who did it? There is no actor, nobody did it. That means no passive. A hard layer formed on the surface by itself. Nobody did it. Okay, that's not passive. Second, somebody did it, but we don't want to say who. More important, the doer is more important, but we don't say who. The bank has been robbed. Passive voice. Third one, Jack the robber escaped from prison 2 days ago. We say who did it, okay? But he is not important. We say Jack the robber, but Jack the robber is not important. What is important? We know he was in prison, he's not important. He escaped. What is at the end is important. So the third level of importance of the doer is we say who did it, but he's not important. Okay? And the fourth level of importance of the doer, we say who did it, and he is important. The bank was robbed by Jack the robber. Okay, so these are the 4 levels of importance of the doer of the thing. How do we use it in scientific papers? Now that's important. All right, number 1. A new method was developed. The author used the passive because, have you seen sentences like this in scientific articles? Yes. A new method was developed. The author wants to hide who did the research. If he wants to hide that he did it, why the hell does he write his name on the bloody paper? Then he shouldn't write his name on the paper if he wants to hide, if he's a secret agent. Very, very stupid. Okay? All right. We developed a new method. We, the scientists. Now, the researchers are mentioned, but they are not important because they are at the beginning. What is important? What they did. Of course, the researchers are important because it was not the cleaning lady who did the research, it was the researcher, so it should be in the sentence, but it's not important. This is correct. In the abstract, at least. In the abstract, okay? Yeah. Also, I didn't say it, I read it in a reference. Avoid the so-called non-human agent. The study is not a living person. You shouldn't say the study concluded that. Not very beautiful. The authors concluded that. The study didn't say anything. It can't speak. Okay? It's better. The authors concluded that. However, using I and we too frequently is not very good style. Okay? I did this, then I did this, then I did this, then I did this. If you say I and we too frequently is not very beautiful. So even if the active voice is correct, but the sentences are short, so the next I or we would come too soon, you could alternate the active voice with the passive voice. Like, I did this, then this was done. Then we did this, then this was done. First of all, we know exactly who did it, because it's in the previous sentence, and we don't repeat I and we so often. Okay? It's okay to alternate, sometimes active, sometimes passive. But within one sentence, with the same actor, do not do that, because that is bad. It's from a source. Like, the executive committee approved the new policy and the calendar was revised by the same people. No. The committee approved and the committee revised. don't change from active into passive. Instead, the executive committee approved the new policy and revised the calendar. Okay? If in one sentence the same people did it, then don't change from active to passive. Okay. The situation is different in the methods or methodology section. Okay, the methods. How did you make the experiment? Okay. The density of the specimen was measured. Okay. Here you can use the passive. It's okay, because we are not sure that it's actually the researchers who measure the density. Maybe a first-year university student who measured it, because it's a simple thing, okay? So on the one hand, it's not important, and on the other hand, we cannot be sure that the researchers did it. So in the methods section, the passive is very common, okay? When the method is not special. However, if the researchers invented a new measurement method and they used that, then we should use the active, because the researchers are important. It's not just something that happened, okay? That we used this technique because we thought that this would give better results. If it's a special method, okay? Unique test procedure. Common mistakes, and that's the last point. Common mistakes. People make mistakes when they use the passive. They incorrectly hide who did the action. A new method was developed to improve the mechanical properties of the polymer. New method was developed. Who the hell developed it? Somebody in the references, or the researchers, or the cleaning lady, or the English teacher, or who the hell? Okay? No. We developed a new method. Mistake number one. It was found. Ooh! Have you seen things like this? Now, this is terrible. It was found. If the researchers found it, why do they hide it? They can't take responsibility, okay? Who found it, okay? Somebody must take responsibility for who found the results, okay? The cleaning lady or somebody from the street. We don't want to say who, because it doesn't matter. Okay, like for example, a new bridge will be built, okay? Why don't we say who will build it? The workers will build it, but it doesn't matter which workers. Jóska Pista or Lópikula Béla, it doesn't matter. Can we say that it doesn't matter who found it? That's absolutely stupid, okay? Unacceptably stupid. Yeah, we found it, we are the researchers. Okay, again, why do you write your name on it if you don't want to take responsibility? And in the literature research, give the other researchers some respect. Okay? It was not, it was found. X and Y found it. They are responsible for their scientific result. Okay? Give the researchers some respect in the literature review. They found it, not it was found. That's terrible. It is incorrectly used for something that happened by itself. You know, it happened by itself. A new material was formed as a result of the chemical reaction. No. A new material formed. 3. The end of the sentence is a place of emphasis. You put important stuff at the end of the sentence. A new method was developed in the abstract. What is important? Develop? No. New method is important. That should come at the end. Okay? New method. The important thing should come at the end. Or mathematical models that can we know this sentence, blah, 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 will be created. What is important? Will be created? No. The mathematical models are important. They should be at the end of the sentence. Important things should come at the end. The sentence begins with known information and ends with new information. A new method was developed. Is that known, all the information? No. We developed a new method. We, the researchers, are all the information. Everybody knows us. We are very famous. And we developed a new method. New method is the new information that should come at the end of the sentence. We talked about it in style. Okay. Again, mathematical models. Mathematical models, is that the new information? Is that the old information? No, that's the new information. Created, is that the new information? No. We will create, we are the old information, mathematical models are the new information, and we are the old information. 5. In correct English style, long things come at the end. Okay? Scanning electron microscope images of foam structures are shown in figure 8. Very common. Such sentences are very common. Okay? Long things should come at the end. Perhaps I could say figure 8 shows scanning electron microscope images, but we said that it's unnecessary because it doesn't say anything, but nevertheless this should not come at the beginning of the sentence. Mathematical models should not come at the beginning of the sentence because it's long. Okay? 6. Oh yeah, that's the end. I have a nice website with nice things. I will send it to your teacher and he will give it to you.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, here it is. You can find everything here, www.balaskoatila.eu or HU, but EU. In here you will find menu point tananyagok and the menu point downloads. Well, tananyagok has more materials because I wrote more stuff in Hungarian. So you will find this stuff both in Hungarian and in English. If you like to read it in Hungarian, then you can find it in Hungarian. The same thing is available in English. Downloads, and under downloads you will find something like higher level English stuff or something like that. And then there are not too many things, but all are very interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. And thank you, camera.